One of my new decade resolutions was to hone in on my negotiation skills. I often find myself doing more or less the same thing, but for a lot less than a lot of my peers, and I really want to fix some of those problems. A lot of it is my own doing, by the way. So I do a lot of tutoring here in the Seattle area, and I recently took in a client who's working on microeconomics. This is a little bit outside of the area that I usually tutor in, but I'm comfortable enough doing it. And well, as a little bit of an economics lesson, the pay was on the low side. I almost didn't want to do it. The main reason I want to do it is because we were meeting in downtown Bellevue Library, and I would get a lot of exposure from people seeing what I'm doing. Downtown Bellevue was very busy during the afternoon hours, and there's a lot of potential to get other clients who see what I'm doing. There's also a lot of potential. See, this is an economics lesson right here. There's also a lot of potential of meeting a potential partner of some sort, whether it be a life partner or a business partner. And the pay I was getting, it was more like a reimbursement for my drive there. The real pay was all the exposure I was getting. He didn't know that, though. He thought he was only paying so little. There's my number one negotiation lesson, is that you got to find out what somebody else values. What somebody values isn't necessarily what you have to give up. That's why trade is made of win, right? When two people trade, they're giving up different things that they value very differently, right? In this case, he doesn't really have to give up anything, right? Okay, the problem comes is that three lessons in, he emails me, and this guy, he's not a very responsive person. Like his emails will often hang there until the very last day. A lot of things will come up, and he asks if I could meet at his home. And, well, obviously, I wouldn't like that deal anymore. But the thing is, he tells me that he didn't tell me before, but he actually has a hidden disability, and which makes walking very difficult. And asked if I could meet at it. So I said, well, yeah, but, and then I told him about the value that I get from, I told him that I had just started doing tutoring, and that the exposure is worth a lot to me. We have to renegotiate the deal if we do this at your home. Well, how much would it be? And I delay telling him. I know he doesn't check email very often, so I know I can get away with not telling him just yet. And so I didn't tell him. The other reason I hesitated on telling him is that I don't know if it will actually work. Some people's homes have so much fragrances and other chemicals. I have allergies, and that it's just not going to work anyway. If I tell him a number and then I go there and it's not going to work anyway, that would be kind of on me. If I don't tell him, I go there and I apologize, this isn't going to work. It's kind of funny. I had a good feeling he would use a lot of fragrances in his home. I mean, just as somebody who has dealt with this problem for so many years, you kind of develop a good profile of who uses fragrances and who doesn't. The 20-some-year-old college student who has a hidden disability, and who lives with a lot of roommates. He's the kind of guy who uses a lot of fragrances. I know I'm trying to be stereotypical here, but it's just a fact of reality. You see somebody and you instantly know. You know, when you go to the shopping mall and you see somebody dressed in a three-piece suit, you know, on a Sunday going to the shopping mall, you have a good idea that his home is probably going to be a lot safer than that college student. Just my own experience. Especially, you know, the guy at the mall with the three-piece suit, if he's asking you to tutor his 7-year-old kid, you could feel pretty safe going to his home. Anyway, so I tell him that we might have to renegotiate the deal because of, obviously, I was only doing this because the money doesn't even pay for my drive there. You know, I'm trying to get some exposure, and I think you know this. He said, okay, how much is it? So I don't tell him when I drive to his home. He opens the door a few inches, and I instantly know it's not going to work. And I was kind of already prepared for this because I had a feeling I had to deliver this speech. And so I tell him, yeah, you know, I'm sorry. So I backed away from the door and I told him, you know, I'm sorry. There was actually another reason that I hesitated on doing this, which is that I have allergies to fragrances. Well, I don't use any fragrances. I said, yeah, I understand that you probably don't feel anything, but I'm very sensitive, and there are a lot of products that that cause me trouble. And that's a big problem. People know if they put peanuts in their recipe. Actually, a lot of people don't anymore because they buy a lot of prepackaged stuff. But they'll never admit that they use fragrances because they're in so many hidden products. And especially in a home. I've had people outright tell me they don't use fragrances who have stuff plugged into the wall that give fragrances. It's not just somebody using something in the bathroom anymore. Anyway, so I tell him, I'm sorry. I hope, I wish you the best of luck in another tutor. No, no, no. I'll go to the library right now. I'll meet you there in 10 minutes. In the past, I probably would have pushed very hard to go back to the library. Nowadays, I just walk. The deal was almost borderline anyway. I spent a lot of time hanging out at the library anyway. Whatever the case is, so that's good. So it's a win-win. He gets a good deal, and then I felt that after we met at the library, I followed up the lesson with this is a very good deal. We should let's keep this amount between the two of us because I'm here to hope to network like I had told him earlier, and he agrees on that too. So that's out of the way too. And I learned that everything is negotiable, right? The exposure, the fact that I didn't want to give up a number before going to his home because I didn't want to embarrass myself if it wasn't going to work. If he wants to pay $1,000,000 an hour for me to go to his home, I'll just tough it out and get sick every time, right? That's fine with me as well. That's certainly on the table. Uh, if he wants to go to the library, and his disability, he's not going to hurt himself walking. It's just kind of a challenge. It's time consuming, but I think it's not the worst thing for him to do anyway. And so all is good, all is good. So everything is negotiable.